What's going on, guys? Welcome. Tuesday night. So we are live like we do every Tuesday, talking about comic news of the week. We got some great stuff to talk about. We got some Jon Bernthal Punisher rumors. We have some original art that sold at auction for Heritage Auctions. Some Star Wars fans will be loving this. We talked last week about Gunslinger Spawn, and in that conversation we talked about NFTs. We got a little bit more of that to talk about this week. But before we get into those topics and a bonus topic that just came in last minute, we'll get into that. But before we do, let's bring people into the show. Brian McClay, Tales from the Flip Side, YouTube. What's going on, buddy?
What's up? Good luck on the end of the baseball season coming up here. We have to figure out who the Giants are going to play in the World Series, right? Or am I jinxing
it? If Drew's joined yet, I'm just saying I hope it's the Cardinals. I'm kidding. Yeah, it was a nail biter down to the last game, that's for sure. And I was following both scores, but happy to see the Giants win the NL West. Did not expect it, but either way, bringing other people into the panel. We're running kind of a skeleton crew tonight, but no doubt we got people coming into the chat. We got Mighty Mel V in the chat right now. And also on the panel, we're bringing them in right now from Danks Comics on YouTube. Let's welcome Dan Kim.
What up, everyone? Station to the folks that know.
You came in, shot out a cannon, and then sparkled out.
And what's up to Ace, Rob? Good to see everyone.
Yeah, great to have you in here. This is like the best part of the week for me. No matter how tired or how busy work gets, always love this live stream. And bringing us in from the producer, button pusher, the guy that helps us produce this show, and his own YouTube channel, Comic Man Andy. What's going on, buddy?
Brother, I'm always happy to be here on Tuesday nights pushing your buttons, seeing where this goes. What's up, guys?
Yes, so Andy Tomlin, night off. He'll be back soon. Tony, you never know. He's always eating Cheerios, SpaghettiOs, whenever. So I'm sure he'll probably pop in. But either way, we're running the Fearsome Foursome, the Four Horsemen, whatever you guys want to call it. But we got some great topics to talk about tonight, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
And it's funny because last week it was almost like a nuanced topic when we were talking about Gunslinger Spawn and we're talking about some of these high ratio variants. And then within that conversation, we got into, I think even Dan brought it up, going into NFTs for some of these books. And once you know it, a week later, we got Todd McFarlane talking about possibly going into the NFT market. But he wants to, feel free to bring the graphic up anytime now, Andy. But he wants to do it for smaller budgets, which is great because a lot of these NFTs that people are selling are high dollar, for people that aren't familiar, NFT, non-fungible tokens. It's unique ownership. He's talking about a unique also price range from $1 to $10 to $100 up to $1,000. Wants to do something that is affordable for all budgets. So I think it's kind of funny how this conversation kind of bled over into NFTs, and then now we are talking about Todd McFarlane and Spawn and NFTs. Interested to get you guys' thoughts on this. I know NFTs is a super hot item across multiple collectibles right now. I mean, we got Topps doing it with garbage poke hits, baseball cards. Artists, more and more artists are doing it from comic book art. And I mean, NFTs, if you're a Gary Vaynerchuk fan, he's been talking about them now for years, and it's starting to pick up. And we've also had that discussion where NFTs are hot right now, but so is the .com craze in the 90s. What's going to stay? What's going to fall by the wayside? So what do you guys think about McFarlane NFTs and then maybe NFTs in general? I know, Dan, you got a lot to talk about on this topic because I could see the look on your face. We'll start with you.
Okay, I think the 2020s will be remembered for the NFT, and they're like supercharged Beanie Babies because you there is no actual limit, right? It's like it's not even a thing, right? You're just like, oh, I'm just gonna make another one arbitrarily. I'm gonna just throw this up, and now it's another NFT. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm old, right? Also, Todd McFarlane says a lot of shit. I mean, like during COVID, he was talking about let's release digital comics to everybody. Let's release all the company. He says a lot of stuff. Very idealistic stuff. But did that happen? I don't remember. Did that happen? I don't remember that happening.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, and I quote Todd McFarlane. He said, "Here's what I know about addicts: the longer they stay sober, the easier it is to stay sober." And he's talking about comic book collectors. So I don't know. I just feel like it's just another It's
What
like
does that mean? I don't
it's
understand
like
what does that mean.
oh, he was talking about like during COVID. I'm sorry, I did take it out of context.
Okay.
During COVID, Diamond stopped releasing comics, and he said that's why we need to release the books for free, because we can do that, and because
like
we need to
saying-
keep them hooked. Otherwise, they're gonna not be hooked anymore, And this NFT thing is like part of that, like getting people to keep getting. It's like Delta 8 and Delta 10 and the THC 0 and all the derivatives of, just making up new shit to sell because they just want more. I don't get it, y'all. I don't know if you can enlighten me.
Have you bought? I
Unfortunately-
think you haven't bought any NFTs yet, right?
I have bought and sold crypto, and I was doing really well. I was doing so well that I know, like for me, even if I'm doing too well, that's not good either, because that is also wreaking havoc on my nervous system too. So I set an end date because I'm just like, I'm just selling everything at this date because it's doing too good. And I had a strategy, it was like really winning. And then it all crashed like 2 weeks after the end date. And I was like, oh, snap. Because I know when a good thing is like, it's too good, when things are too good. It's not, it's out of touch with reality. Like, things, it can't, like, there's going to be too many. Who's going to buy this shit when there's so many? No, I don't.
People that need to launder money.
Yeah, probably.
That's about what it's become to me. People that have a lot of money throwing money around, and they think it's ways for them to have fun and make a little money on top of it. And I think a lot of these people are going crazy over these crypto punks and stuff like that. And it's garbage pail kids for the new generation. That's what
I
it is.
bought Garbage Pail Kid NFTs though, only because, and I didn't buy. I haven't. I'll full disclosure, I haven't done enough research to buy from like an investor type level. I just bought it as a collector. I mean, it's like, hey, this is kind of cool. I kind of want to check out this NFTs, but I don't know anything about anything else. But I like Garbage Pail Kids, and I trust Tops, to kind of hopefully have some staying power with whatever, if the NFT goes bust like the .coms do. I have faith that Tops will kind of still be around. But either way, I bought a couple Garbage Pail NFTs. The thing with Tops, man, especially with their baseball, it's kind of like was it Top Pack? What's the NBA one?
Top Shots.
Yeah, Top Shot. They're like, oh, we're selling them tomorrow at 2 p.m. And even at launch, I don't know if it's bots or what, however they're doing it, but they're gone instantaneous.
Yeah, it is bots. It's ridiculous. That's why a lot of people are tired of the sports card hobby, right? Like, I don't even think about sports cards anymore unless I'm selling them.
Yeah.
I don't want to go get them. I'm not like, hey, I'm gonna run up to the store and see if I can grab a box of cards or something. Never, because I'm like, it's not even worth it anymore. It's not even fun anymore. So I think that's the problem, that once it quits being fun, and people are just doing it for a job, which I think more and more people are doing, which is okay. I'm cool with that. I make money selling comic books, so and cards, and I get it. But when it becomes a thing where you're like, okay, I can make 10% profit on this if I do this, this, and this, and if I get it's like, what? Like, oh man, it's really weird when you see what's going on in the hobby industry and how much people. I'm getting that feeling. Dank said it, like that feeling of Beanie Baby again. Like, people think that they're going to make money off this stuff because there is a lot of money being thrown around in the hobby world, and people are starting to think, oh, I can make big money off of this, and they're getting the NFT stuff is just totally taking them.
Yeah, and that's the thing is usually where that money is where the crowd isn't, right? I mean,
Yep.
either unless you're first to market or first to get on something, or everyone mentions that. I know I think we've all mentioned it that freaking Gretzky, skate where the
Yes.
puck isn't. So a lot of times I think that's fun for the hobby, as hey, everyone's talking about, especially with comics, they want to talk about Venom at one point. Everyone talks about what's uh Punchline. Everyone talks about, whatever's hot. It's like, okay, that's cool. I might have picked up a couple copies, but what's being not talked about right now that might have some room to grow, or something that can kind of pick up before it that's that self speculation that we talk about a lot of times.
Well, do you think that these bigger names getting in on it, like McFarlane and stuff like that, is going to help it? Or is it going to more people are going to be like, what the fuck?
I honestly, I
Like,
don't feel
what is this?
I don't feel I'm smart enough to give a valid opinion on that
Yeah.
to an extent. I think it will, because you have some big names bringing some weight. Same can be said for Substack, right? We
Yes.
have thoughts on Substack where we need to see where that goes, and they keep adding more and more names. But one person we haven't talked to so far on this was Andy. I know you have a huge NFT portfolio. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but
I got a Trapper Keeper.
I gotta ask myself this question: am I at this point in my life where I just start sitting out on the porch and yelling, "Get off my lawn"? Because I just can't kind of wrap my head around this stuff, and I'm like, man, am I at that point where the new music doesn't sound cool anymore, and
It doesn't.
all this new like what's kind of going on? So the scary part about this for me is the only people that I see like hammering NFTs, you know what I mean, the non-fungible tokens, hammering that stuff on social media are the people that are deep in that game. That feels very pyramid scheme-ish to me. Like it's the people that are vested heavily in it that are pushing it the hardest. It feels like, which worries me a little bit. That's not to say that this could be something that I'm totally going to sleep on and not really educate myself on and totally miss out on. So maybe I need to rethink about that and educate myself heavily, because I'm with you, Brian. I'm not educated enough and I don't to really make a stance on this. But you know what this does really feel like? My gut tells me this feels like back in the day when you were first able to start buying online in video game items with real money.
Yes.
And that's what it's kind of based on. It's
Yes.
like microtransactions is a lot of people, what a lot of people compare or explain, mansplain, whatever you want to call it, when they're talking about explaining NFTs, they use that microtransaction analogy from video games to where, hey, you can get this super exclusive skin, but it's going to cost you a little bit more. And ultimately,
CS:GO, right?
My ignorance level right now is I compare it to bragging rights, and there's a market for it to sell it, of course, but ultimately, I'm still I want to touch it. I want to feel it. I'm not a digital goods kind of guy, except for I do buy digital games and digital movies. That way my kids can't scratch up the discs and my fat ass doesn't have to get up and put a new disc in. But that's basically what it is. It's almost microtransactions, except for it's on a more scarcity level. I do like where Todd McFarlane is talking about making them for a more budget friendly.
But where's the scarcity? Just like where's the it's created or crafted scarcity ? Because like back in the day, you could farm as much gold or gil or whatever in video games and just completely create it.
But if that game gets deleted, it goes away. The NFT, you have ownership of it, is where the big thing with the NFTs is where you have cryptocurrency ownership of it, where you have, you're actually paying for it. It's not like a lot of people confuse, like there's a lot of those tops or those apps out there for trading cards. I mean, I do one for Disney that's like trading cards. That's not NFTs. If that app were to go away tomorrow, everything I've collected, even spending microtransactions on, that's gone. But with the NFT, you actually own it. It's got a unique signature. It's in your wallet. But that's about the extent of NFT knowledge I have. So I'm not going to sit there and act like I know everything about NFTs.
But like video games, they all, like even the scarcity in video games and the objects, they had their own ecosystems that were separate and their own consumers that were connected to a single ecosystem in general. Everyone's making NFTs. There's no control, and And with internet, it's really internet FOMO also going on. We're seeing a level of proliferation through the internet and FOMO that has never happened in human history. So I will see what this grand experiment go. And remember there was branded Beanie Babies too. A lot of companies got into the Beanie Babies too. It wasn't just Beanie Babies.
Yeah, and tulips in the 1700s or whatever.
I
would-
will
Market
say
crash.
this. Sean Kirkham from Skybound, I had him on the channel for an interview talking about Comics About Live. We had another conversation, not recorded, talking about Skybound, and I asked him, is Skybound going to go into the NFT market? We had a discussion about NFTs. He brought up a kind of a scenario of, I'm a Giants fan, right? He's like, how cool would it be to you to buy these unique Giants NFTs, and then the bragging rights where you can go to a game and show people, hey, this is all the cool Giants stuff I have. But what if they take it a step further, and what if Giants organization says, hey, depending on NFT wallet or size you have, now you get seat upgrades, now you get free concessions or free tickets, or you move into a it's kind of like being, I'm the number one Giants fan with NFTs type stuff. That was kind of a cool scenario, but
So what do you do to prove? What do you do to prove ownership? I mean, if I
have
buy
to show you have an electronic wallet that has
Yeah, it's a blockchain, and
Yep.
it can't be. It's like really hard to. It's very good, the
There's a
blockchain,
path, yeah.
the way it functions.
But if you the thing is, there was some NFTs they've already shown that some have gotten hacked.
And some are, a lot are scams. There's a famous YouTuber named CoffeeZilla who examines financial scammers and pyramid schemes. Yeah, and he's been also exposing a lot of these scammer NFTs. And people trust are involved in these kind of scams. So just be
if you
careful.
had one of these scammers, Andy, who would you hire to go after him for you as a vigilante? Do you think it'd be the Punisher?
Would I hire? Man, this is a great segue into what I'm going to say right off the bat. This is just a rumor. This is wholly just a rumor. Jon Bernthal returning in rebooted Punisher series. Our scoop confirmed. So this is coming from Giant Frickin' Robots website, and there was a couple more that we stumbled on, but it feels like it's that time of the year for Punisher information, Punisher news, Jon Bernthal news. I was reflecting on this about an hour or two ago, and actually it dawned on me. I realized, you know what? It kind of seems like every fall, every end of September into October, there gets to be some sort of a leak or some sort of new information. So I'm going to just continue to say, this is still just a rumor. I tried digging into many different aspects of YouTube and other areas to find out if there was some factual evidence here. And it just kind of boils down to, they say there's a script happening in the works. Well, there could be 20 Punisher scripts from 20 different writers that are just sitting there waiting for the things to shape up and happen. But the next Netflix rights finally ended a year ago, so we're hitting that anniversary. It was a year ago that those ended, so that was exciting. And now we're just kind of waiting. And there was a interview done with Bernthal on Rolling Stones and something else, and I think the question came up once about whether or not he was going to be returning, and he danced around it like a politician would dance around just about anything. And I think he's just in the hurry up and wait mode, where if it happens, it happens, and he's going to love it. But what's also really interesting, and once again, this is a rumor, Terran Tactical on YouTube has new video footage of Bernthal training in firearms marksmanship. I don't know if that video is rehashed or reused content. I'm still trying to dig through that.
It looks like it's reused, because I think I've seen that before.
But the funny thing
Walking Dead.
The funny thing is that mustache that he's wearing, he's in a picture on his Instagram profile just a week or two ago with that same mustache.
Oh, wow.
So I got a collection of mustaches. If I go to Walmart and I want to get multiple boxes,
I'm trying to weigh this out, and I really want to know what you guys think. I mean, are we just seeing just that anniversary kind of going into fall, new Punisher kind of hype, or is there a little bit of meat to this, Brian?
I think there's meat. I totally think that they're coming back. I think that rumor has been strong from the get-go. I think the fans all wanted to see Charlie Cox, Jon Bernthal, Christian Ritter, everybody but the Iron Man kid, Iron Fist kid. Sorry, come back. Like, and I didn't think the Iron Fist kid was bad, to be honest, but everybody else wants all those characters to reprise their roles. They did such a good job casting. I don't think there's a better Punisher than Jon Bernthal. I don't think there's a better Daredevil than Charlie Cox, and there's definitely not a better what's her name than Christian Ritter. So,
and Luke Cage, who I thought was good.
Yeah, Luke Cage was great too. Yes.
Well, you know, like a lot of castings, right? So like Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, they kind of they redefine the role because like it's not like the comics, right? Jon Bernthal was the most pitch perfect casting we've ever seen, where he is the comic Punisher, and he still owns it and makes it his own at the same time. Like not even I wouldn't even say that about Wolverine. You know, like they made it something else. They changed it. You know. I rarely saw something so pitch perfect. And but when it comes to these leaks, y'all, I think the community is a little naive. I think corporations know to make leaks on purpose. These are all manufactured leaks by corporations to create buzz so that we get hyped up with so much intensity that we buy everything when it happens. Like I think that's like this is one of the great this will be remembered in the 2020s. The manufactured corporate leaks. That's me one of those things I'm gonna remember about this time and how we all bought into it that these were real leaks. I don't buy any of it. I think most of them I would say based on no proof. Like more than half of these leaks are fake. They're just manufactured by corporations to create tons of buzz because it's way better than doing it like officially. Just leak it. Oh, it leaked. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. I call bullshit on these leaks.
I like it. I agree with everyone else where I think it's gonna come, right? But what I like even more about it that kind of makes more sense is even in that article, you know, Marvel has a good Disney Plus presence. They haven't made a good Marvel presence on Hulu yet, right? Mm-hmm. Runaways, some of those others, they just haven't had that Marvelness that we like, and people will sit there in that water cooler talk where I think this Netflix series, you know, I think what have they been waiting on, like the rights or whatever, to reuse the characters, and I hope they don't recast a lot of them. Like outside, like I'm the same way. I didn't hate Iron Fist, but didn't love it. I thought the second season was better than the first. But the Jon Bernthal, Charlie Cox, who I still love in Boardwalk Empire, that is going to be your Hulu dirty, you know, and done right to where now you have a presence on that streaming that makes people want to spend money for the Disney Plus, Hulu Plus, ESPN Plus bundle that they're trying to sell all the time.
Well, do you think they're
Hulu
going to
has some great originals, but from that Marvel standpoint, there's nothing really there yet.
I love that.
We're supposed to be getting Howard the Duck and Moon Knight. Moon Knight's coming to Hulu, right?
That's what I was wondering if it was going to be Hulu or something. That's where they were talking about potentially one of the articles stating a possible cameo of the Punisher in that Moon Knight series to weave him into the MCU fabric.
I think the article said Disney Plus actually for the Moon Knight. I think that's what the article said. I could be wrong. You know, the problem is Hulu, it was Hulu, and then it became Disney bought it, right? They just need. That's why no one knows what the hell Hulu is, because everyone thinks, oh, that's where I used to watch The Office for free, right?
Yeah,
they got to rebrand it.
And then there was a lot of Fox, because I remember when like Hulu was completely free.
Yeah.
Years and years and years ago, and then I got pissed because then it was paid for, and then I paid for it, and I'm like, why did I pay for this? And I've got commercials. So it pissed me off more.
Yeah,
I only got Hulu now because it's free through.
They just got to call it
mobile, and it's free through Sprint.
They got to call it Disney X. They rebrand it completely. Just take that Plus and just turn it and call it Disney X, where you get the R-rated Mickey Mouse. You know.
Yeah.
Dude, you nailed it.
And then everyone knows, oh, Disney X, that's where I get the edgy stuff from Disney. Not Hulu. Hulu! Come to Hulu! Like, what the hell? Hulu? I mean, it just doesn't...
But, I mean, I'm also anxious if you guys are watching this, you know, in the chat or watching this on replay. What are you guys' thoughts? I think Bernthal's too good of a character to just...
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
perfect.
from that Punisher... It was one of the better series in Netflix. That and Daredevil. The only thing I didn't like about Daredevil is I didn't like the hand storyline that they used. But
Yeah, I mean, I just want to see ninjas with guns. I mean, like, why aren't they using
they
guns?
need
I
to
mean,
bring Kingpin
it's
back
not,
too.
just,
It's D'Onofrio.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Talk about some great castings.
Oh God, yeah. And as a massive, massive, massive Punisher fan, and I'm only one person that can dig into this stuff. Let's get the Simpleman's Comics Commandos on this and dig through some of these video clips and other things and see if they can line things up. Is this actual new stuff or is this just rehashed?
We gotta set a board up like
yeah.
Charlie Day there and
Exactly. Like I've like literally when the Punisher series hit, it was like the greatest TV news in my adult life when I saw Bernthal and Daredevil and then the Punisher series. I was like, oh my God. And then after the first season drops, they talked about they're gonna cancel it and end it and just finish it with season 2. And then they just didn't give its day. It didn't give its day in the sun, so to speak. It didn't give it the credit that it was due. They really needed to go further with that. And my soul was crushed when they canceled that. Bernthal has just the right amount of crazy. We got to see him playing Shane in The Walking Dead. Just enough of that like pure psychosis in him that we're he's twitching a little bit, but he's just perfect. Nails it.
He isn't very good in Saints of Newark.
Those shows were also a boon to New York City, like because they were all shot in New York and they used all the crews and teams in New York. So it was like when they canceled it all, it was like a big deal actually in New York. And then because they shoot a lot of those Marvel movies in LA and they pretend it's New York, everyone's pretending.
Georgia.
But the Netflix shows were actually shot in New York, and that I don't know, that was amazing. You gotta always shoot in New York, before it gets so gentrified. You don't know what's going on anymore.
That'd make for
Mitch
really
Newell
good.
makes it like perfect. That's like a perfect poster. I'd love to see. Love Brubaker.
Mm-hmm.
But
Man,
we've also seen that this isn't the next topic, but we've seen that the lawsuit has settled and Romanoff, Scarlett Johansson is now playing nice, and the Tower of Terror movie that she's supposed to be producing is still greenlit through Disney. But keeping with that box office, right? Venom just came out. We got some news on that, don't we, Dan?
Yeah, Venom came out and it debuted with a opening record with $90 million, which surpasses Shang-Chi and Black Widow and is the highest opening weekends of the pandemic period, of this age of the pandemic or whatever.
Do you think that's indicative of the movie or indicative of people going back to the movies?
No, I actually think it's indicative of, I've mentioned this many times before on many streams. I believe, and I don't want it to be true, but I believe the MCU has peaked. I think Endgame was the peak, because there's so much continuity now that the average moviegoer it's not, you can't, there's this impenetrable wall of continuity. And Venom is a buddy comedy. Like any regular normie can watch Venom trailer and be like, oh, it's a buddy comedy about a parasite. It's all goofy, and like everyone can just jump in and enjoy it for its schlock and silliness. Whereas like Marvel, because like we're all like, oh, how's Marvel? We're all like, we were way more obsessed about the Black Widow and Shang-Chi openings. We almost barely talked about the Venom opening. Like we barely talked about it because we have this reverence for the MCU as collectors and fans of comics because they did so much for us, right? But I don't think that's the mainstream audience. I do not think the mainstream audience is us. We're not exactly.
I think it's people that recognize Venom but aren't Venom fans.
But it's like tons of people that never heard of Venom. Like China, like just took off. They don't know. They never heard of Venom. They don't read Spider-Man comics in China. But it just took off because it's so simple. The idea is so simple, and you don't need to know any backstory. And the MCU has gotten so big and expansive that now you can watch a movie and not know what the hell is going on or where the hell that came from. Like if you don't know anything, right? I think we're at this point. I think they're just and it's showing like, because we put all this hopes, we didn't put all this energy into Venom because we thought this might be a goof.
Yeah.
But it just killed. Yeah. And I think we're not really in touch with what the general mainstream audience, because they're gonna burn. They're close to burning out from the MCU.
I think it's great points. I have seen Facebook and stuff, like people that are Venom fans. They enjoyed the movie, but as in the movie was entertaining. But from like a Venom fandom, they
Yeah,
had some.
fell flat.
Yeah, they had some uh, grudges, I guess you could say.
Well, there's a couple things that they did just didn't make sense. Like, and without getting spoilerific, like, I'll just go say this: like, Venom villains are important. Villains are important. Like, there's no reason to have a villain, a big villain, not just have multiple appearances in movies along the way. So that's my thing. There's no reason to do what they did. Now I get it. It could be, oh, you never know. Nobody's ever dead, but still.
Yeah, and well, I do like Black Widow. Opening weekend was great, and then people were like, it just dropped like the second weekend. And that'd be something to watch too. But I think that might be different because Black Widow was like one of the first movies to hit theaters when people were starting to go back to theaters. When a lot of people at the time, the masks weren't required as much anymore, and then the Delta variant came through. So, Cantankerous, hold your horses. We're going to get to it here in just a little bit. But yes, our bonus topic is the Penguin shipping, and we have receipts and pictures, so we're going to get into that for sure. But Andy, Venom, did you see it yet? I haven't seen it.
No, I'm gonna see it probably when we go to Motor City Comic Con in another week and a half or so. But it's interesting. It's just interesting to see those numbers. And like Mitch said, it's got a 5.6 on Rotten Tomatoes. I wonder if my heart is feeling like a lot of other people. They want to be entertained. It doesn't have to be amazing. It doesn't have to be like Dank's got a great point, absolutely, about being kind of the MCU being overdone or overwhelming for the bulk of people out there. It's too much continuity, I think, is exactly what you said, and I would agree with that wholeheartedly.
I will say this: like the movie, the trailers to me didn't wow me, but love Andy Serkis, who's directed this. Right, huge Tom Hardy fan, and love Woody Harrelson. So that's enough to get me to eventually see it. So far, one of my favorite movies I've seen, which is now available on Vudu. But if you haven't seen Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds, there's a great movie. But
isn't that what you said, Dank? Is there's too much continuity?
Too much continuity. You just, there's like all these MacGuffins that you don't know anything about. If you just jumped in, you don't have any clue where these MacGuffins came from. Whereas these newer movies, they're more self-contained and they're more like simplistic and stupid and like people, but Marvel's become such a institution that like every film has to be important, and it's like so heavy, but it's like people wearing tights, colorful tights, and it has to be like this important cultural. It's like, or people are just like, I just want to watch the buddy comedy with the fucking parasite that makes breakfast for him. That's what I want to watch. That. Oh my god, look at that breakfast. That's so wild. And they went for it, and we didn't think it was gonna do that. None of us expected
people
that.
who see Venom play Roblox. I'm kidding.
But what's really interesting and what kind of carries on to this point as well is you've got a major movie with the debut of a major villain, and movies here. If you look at ASM 361 as like as a stock, its stock price is down, yet its debut is here.
Yeah, that's because that's the way the comics are now. It's higher during the announcement and the casting, and once the movie's here.
Well, it was down before the movie dropped. It was on the ASM 361's been on a steady decline this whole past summer, pretty much.
Yeah.
Since
look at Eternals.
Yeah,
and that's a month away, right?
What's going to happen there?
They are putting a lot of hope in that movie.
I'm excited to see it. I think the Eternals is going to be good.
They're saying it's the Ben-Hur of Marvel MCU. Like they're putting a lot of eggs in this basket.
What was the you say Ben-Hur? What was the remake not too long ago with Was it Christian Bale in it? It was basically
Yeah,
the re-
Was it?
Christian Bale.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh my God.
yeah,
He
that
played
was
the
like
Pharaoh.
huge budget and underperformed.
Yeah.
So
Here's what I think. I'll play devil's advocate a little bit. I think that the uh, end scene credits thing made up for a lot of maybe the falling flat of the movie, because even though I agree with you that some people don't get the continuity, I think a lot of people love the continuity. I think people love continuity in the worlds and stuff, and that's what they wanted. And now we're gonna get it because now we have them all in the same world, right? So now we're gonna get all the symbiote history. We're gonna get the null stuff. We're gonna get the Clintar worlds. We're gonna get all the other symbiotes. We're gonna get Toxin. That's for sure. We're gonna get Venom going after Peter for either going after or teaming up with Pete. We're probably gonna get anti-Venom now. We're probably gonna get more galactic cosmic storylines within in the symbiote lore and stuff like that. So there's going to be a lot for fans of symbiotes, man. They're stoked. They're super stoked.
yeah,
I,
one
I
just jumped into the chat with Ryan.
I wouldn't call the end credit like a continuity, like as a proof of people liking. It's more, I think, proof of people liking crossovers. It's like just Frankenstein meets Wolfman. It's just, oh, he's gonna meet Spider-Man. Woo! It's not about like, I mean, for the mainstream audience, like to me, this is like, oh wow, now Frankenstein's meeting Wolfman, and that movie, Frankenstein meets Wolfman, is like totally standalone. You don't need any continuity. You just know
Chipmunks
this
meet Wolfman,
person's meeting
even
that
better.
person. Yeah, it's just a crossover. Like people just love crossovers, and that's the beginning of the end of a genre when they start doing a lot of crossovers that don't make a lot of sense. Like,
I don't mind the crossovers as much as I'm sick of, hey, let's just reboot every damn franchise that's out there because we can't have original IP.
but they messed up because Venom is the origin of Venom is Spider-Man, but they made Venom without Spider-Man, and now he's being Spider-Man. Like that doesn't. It's so like. It doesn't make sense.
Have you heard how they're trying to make it make sense, Dan?
Multiverse of Madness or something.
So they're basically saying that when at the end of the movie, when he says, "Let me show you, 80 years of hive mind, history, whatever," and he does at the second he does that is when all the other shit happens, where Doctor Strange changes the past, where the Kang stuff happens with Loki, where the Scarlet Witch stuff happens, right? It's like that perfect storm of all those events, and it brings everything together. And then when he wakes up in that new reality, he immediately not only has his past feelings like that in his world, but because he merged with the Sam Raimi verse, now he's got the Venom hatred that Venom that Spider-Man 3 had, So,
Topher Grace Venom?
yes, Topher Grace. Yeah. So now he's got the hatred of Topher Grace's Venom in him too. You know what I mean? Because they merged it. And that's why he kind of looked at the screen like him.
I'm along for the ride. They're going for it. I don't think it's a good long-term strategy, but
Yeah.
because we saw this in comics. We're watching comics unfold for the mainstream public, like 50 years of continuity being smashed into 15 years, and we're just like watching it all happen at this like incredible rate, but it led to a decline.
Yeah.
And I think we're just hyper like the movies reignited the comics.
I want
The
to hear
comics
some more
themselves.
Morbius news.
Well, that's the other thing, is that this kind of makes it known that now Morbius is in this timeline now too. So,
Oh, Jared Leto.
and they're also saying that, like, if you look closely at the No Way From Home trailer, when everybody thought it was the lizard in there, if you look at it, that's Venom, and Venom will be in that movie as part of the Sinister Six. Now,
Yeah, I
Again,
have heard
rumors.
that they're building towards Sinister Six. I haven't watched the new Venom yet. I guess we should have let people know that you guys are just gonna spoil the shit out of it for all of us. But I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But-
I'm
Once
good at
Star
that.
Wars meets Marvel, then we're done. We're
yeah,
done
if we
here.
get, like,
It's coming. You think it's not? They already made a Star Wars multiverse. Like,
yeah, if Guardians of the Galaxy crossover. But
money.
speaking of
money,
Star
money.
Wars, McFarlane, we had some original art that just went up for auction, right?
Yeah, big time. The original art for Heir to the Empire #1 went up for auction for the very first time in its history. It has never been up for sale before. The owner and artist of the piece, Mr. Lafray, I believe is his name. Basically, Mr. Lafray says, in 1995, Vatine and Blanchard offered me the unthinkable to make the covers of Star Wars comic book for Dark Horse comic editions. And it was hands down the most important work of fiction to him. He grew up in the Star Wars era and all that stuff. And he said that during this miraculous collaboration, he received feedback, remarks, and validations from Lucasfilm and Dark Horse that they liked it. And, it was just everything was great about this project. And he had never put it up for sale before. And now he is. And it went for a ridiculous amount.
Yeah, and I think it's crazy also that it speaks to, Star Wars fandom, and it's a fantastic cover, but a lot of people don't put this book up for the cover, right? They pick it up because there's a key first appearance in this book, isn't there?
Well, this is the first appearance, of course, of Thrawn in the comic books, and it is also the first time that we ever see this likeness of Thrawn that you see on the cover, the Thrawn that we know now, that we all love. If you remember, they introduced Thrawn for the novelization before the comic books, and the Heir to the Empire series has a different kind of likeness or look of Thrawn in the novelization. So this is not only a major piece of artwork in the Star Wars fandom, but in the comic book fandom and character fandom. Like it's got the character on the cover of his first appearance in comics. And I think the coolest thing, like I said, is that it's never been available for sale before. And you could tell, like, this is a beautiful piece of art, painted cover. I'd be surprised if it's a small piece of art. Like, I don't know, how big is it? Does it say? Let me see if it says here. Yeah, I can't. 14. It's 14 and a quarter by 19 and a half. So that's pretty big. Beautiful though. Could you imagine owning that piece of original art, sitting behind your couch in your family room or something? Jesus.
I love the unfinished edges around there. Just you can see the raw art where it stops there.
Yeah. I remember seeing this as a kid and just freaking geeking out big time. Like, holy cow, look how badass that is. I remember the Thrawn character was just so crazy looking and weird with the blue skin and stuff.
The Star Destroyers in it's always cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And it sold for a lot. Right? It sold for over $200,000 or something like that.
147
$750 or something like that.
And the owner is not accepting offers, but if the right offer comes, he's willing to talk whenever the offers are above 215,000.
Is that, I don't follow Heritage auctions often.
Yeah, that makes
that
sense.
A normal thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes no sense to me. If I win an auction and then it's like, well, hold on.
Well, maybe
lightning round, bitches.
Yeah. It might be worth it to sell it for me for anything over this much. Yeah. Heritage auctions. Like, listen, I know we get Heritage auctions. We harken back to that horrible video game debacle, but Heritage auctions just continues to push out pieces at record prices. So that didn't really hurt them much in the short term. That's for sure.
They just had that Black Cat auction too, or whatever. Is that going?
Yeah, that's getting ready to happen. Did that happen yet? I don't think it's happened yet.
I don't think so. I saw the hey, here's what's
announcement.
in it.
Yeah. The guy basically said, of course, if you guys don't know, there's a collection out there called the Black Cat Collection, and it's a guy that just owns an amazing amount of just some of the best comic books and original art from pre-code horror and stuff like that. He's a huge Danzig fan. and he's like our age, I'd say. He's maybe it's like our age, like probably like 40s and 50s type deal, and he
Is that the guy that was on Instagram?
yes,
Yeah.
yep, yeah. And so he just has these amazing pieces of history. And he said that he got so tired. He lives in California, in Northern California. He got so tired of having to pack everything up every time there was a fire that he said, you know what, I'm just going to sell it. And that's
What a
crazy.
move.
Yeah. That's just bonkers. I mean,
That doesn't make. Can't you just sell one piece and buy like storage, and
I
not
don't know, man.
worry
I
about
don't know.
moving, packing?
Yeah.
He gets sell one piece and buy his private fire department.
Yes, yeah. It's an amazing collection. Like it's bonkers.
So
He's like
I'm.
good friends with Danzig now, like literally buddies with him.
Wow.
Is he also like a paid consultant of Heritage Auctions? I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. I actually, you remember '90s Star Wars books were like dollar bin filler, garbage. No one gave a crap, right?
Yeah.
I bought this book in the '90s. I bought it off the stands, like because that cover was so, it just struck me, and I read it and I was like, this is a badass comic. Just saying, like even at the time, it stood out amongst the comics that we thought were kind of worthless.
Yes.
And this was a dollar bin book, but I definitely bought this because of the cover, and then I got hooked on the story.
Yeah.
Well, and
It's a great
crazy because
character.
I remember when Marvel or when Disney, not Marvel, when Disney bought Star Wars, right? You think, I'm pretty sure when they finally got to buy Star Wars, they're like, why the hell did we just spend all this money to James Cameron on Avatar crap and are building an Avatar land? We just got freaking Star Wars. But at the time when that happened, it came out that everything, all that Dark Horse stuff at the time, they were saying was non-canon. And everyone was like, Dark Horses, those books already stink, and then they just were, even worse off now. And then you're seeing that was actually the gold mine because all those Dark Horse books are, the Ahsokas, the Thrawns, everything you're seeing is becoming canon, and it's crazy to watch. And the Thrawn, I mean, especially 5 or 6 years ago, that book was still $3, $6, and then right around the time when the Marvel Thrawn series came out, right, with the Matina
gorgeous
cover,
Matina, yeah.
and it started gaining more. And then, of course, once you mention it for Mandalorian, those series that are coming up, and they start hunting for Thrawn or looking for Thrawn, it just skyrocketed. Now the guy picked a good time to put his original art up for sale. That's for sure.
I think that speaks a lot to Disney's hubris and its creative bankruptcy, that they're like, this is all not canon. It's like, oh, we don't know what the fuck. Okay, bring it back. Bring it all back. We don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, maybe they're letting. That's like, what was it? Kathleen Kennedy, right? Who's like, we like to make more movies. We just don't have any material to go off of.
What?
It's just creative bankruptcy. That's just.
Yeah. Well, she's hopefully on her way out. Let's all hope.
And then
He's
John
hoping
Favreau was like,
Filoni.
he leaked
my
Corso, not so fast, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
$4 billion was I think the price they paid for Star Wars, and also MCU. Also, I think it was $4 billion, and also vitamin water. Coke bought vitamin water for $4 billion, and then 50 Cent got super rich because they paid him in stock options, and then that just went nowhere.
Yeah.
They even
that's
had
sad.
like his own 50 purple or something.
Yeah,
like that.
that was also $4 billion. Effing vitamin water, yo. Like, I just can't get over that number. Like, it just always reminds me of the vitamin.
Yeah, cantankerous in the chat. Filoni for sure. I mean, look what he's done with Clone Wars.
Yeah.
It's that
I
hat.
love Bad Batch too, by the way. I don't know if you guys have watched
Bad Batch is good.
I haven't watched the anime Star Wars stuff that they've just started putting out.
Visions.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Visions yet, and I got 2 more episodes of Bad Batch to watch. But this art piece, man, when we first started sharing the link to talk about for tonight's episode, I couldn't wrap my head around the fact that it was $143,000 for this piece. But now that I've sat on it and processed it a little bit, I'm like, why didn't it go for more? I mean, you're getting art collectors in here, not just Star Wars fans, art collectors in here, and they don't blink at $1 million pieces or $500,000 pieces.
Well, it's one of a kind too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
so why-
one of a kind painting. It's not.
doesn't 143 sound cheap to you guys now for this?
Not when my first house in Virginia Beach cost me $104,000.
Well, I mean, if you think of the bigger picture of art collectors and Star Wars collectors and fans, this
Well,
feel
you
like
own original art, right? Do you have original covers? Do you have original covers?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not covers.
Okay.
You got a splash
Interior.
can't splash page.
Yeah,
An interior
there you
page.
go. Like every once in a while, something gets big. I don't think I've ever bought any original art where it's like it could get crazy like this. Most of the original art I buy is because I like the character, but some people that buy the original art, they get lucky. And this guy was just, I don't know if he was smart not to sell it, but
Did Dave Wilkins ever sell the original art for his Skeletor variant? Do you know?
I don't. So I asked him about that. He does all his digital. Which
I
is,
found
What's an NFT?
yeah, there you go.
I found this painting on the street. I found two giant, amazing paintings on the street in Brooklyn. I don't know. I just
That's great,
It's
dude.
funny
That's
you
awesome.
mentioned that, like mentioning my house in Virginia Beach. This was like 2002, 2005. So there's a mall. You ever go to the malls and they have like these cheap paintings, and it was like $25, and it was like a seascape, and I was like, I'll just put that up there. And at the time, this female came over and she was like, "Oh, is that a?" She mentioned some artist, Monet or something. I said, "Hell no, bitch, that's a Lynn Haven." Because I bought it at Lynn Haven Mall. But yeah,
you never know. You might have a fantastic Antiques Roadshow story lined up.
Yes.
Yeah. And you're gonna be like, you're gonna cry, and they go, "Oh, thank you."
but
You see,
normally we're gonna get into our new comic book day picks. But before we get into our new comic book day picks, our picks might be altered, especially if your picks are Marvel books, because a friend of the channel, Drew from Wanted Comics, reached out to us, and Marvel's starting to get their shipment. Diamond still distributes for Marvel, but basically Diamond's getting it from Penguin, right? Penguin's the main distributor for Marvel, and people can get straight distribution from Penguin, and those that are doing so are getting huge damages on their books. I think Drew mentioned 100% damages on his books, and being in the West Coast, the books arrived before he could reach out to Penguin before their offices closed. So we got some pictures here, and I know other retailer friends, even friends of the channel, John 616 Comics, was another YouTube channel had him on talking about the damages he received. But I'm curious to what y'all's thoughts, people in the chat, if they've heard anything similar, if there's retailers that are watching, what are your thoughts? But Penguin, no good. Like he's calling it the thin mint box because the boxes are just so thin and books are getting damaged, right?
It's too early to be this horrified before Halloween, because this is straight up 100% horror. Because I'm just gonna start rolling through these as you guys talk. This is bad.
Yeah, that one came with a thumb on it, evidently. I'm just kidding.
I love that.
Yeah, I
freaking
mean,
cover.
It's pretty
I'll
bad.
say this: it's bonkers, absolutely bonkers to me that a company that is new to the distribution game would have problems like this. Like if I was this company, like if most smart people would be like, listen, we're getting into this game. Let's find out what the other guy does and not do that. And what is Diamond known for? Fucking up people's books.
Yeah, just tossing books in a box and tossing the incentives on top, and it's QA'd, bitches, and then you don't get half your books, and then they show up in Walmart packs.
Yes. Yep. You're exactly right. This is the problem. And it's coming out right out the box with an L, man. Big time.
And lots of damages. And then I don't know. I mean, I'm not a retailer, but I've had friends that are retailers. I've been in talks with them. I know that Penguin. I don't know how Penguin's different, but I don't know. You're out. So now tomorrow, how much money are you going to lose on New Comic Book Day? I will say that Drew or Wanted Comics, none of these books are going to be for sale. He's not selling this. He won't do that to the customers because he takes care of those customers, just like John at the 616, I'm sure is the same way. But I mean, this sucks from a business owner, especially if you're a small business owner. Maybe you're not midtown. You're not, TFAW. You have a small local comic book shop, a brick and mortar shop, and your whole shipment just got freaking destroyed. What are you going to do for New Comic Book Day? Hey, I know you want Marvel books, but here's some pretty DC stuff instead. Or, we're waiting on replacements. And then, there's always that New Comic Book Day. I won't even say hype from a speculation standpoint, just the new books hit. Well, whenever your replacements come in, that time has come past. The interest isn't as there anymore because there's another new comic book day a week later.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, those boxes are half the thickness of the Diamond boxes, it looks like.
Yeah.
Not that I'm giving Diamond credit. I'm just saying that box is way thinner than the Diamond box.
Yeah, not very good for Penguin. Random is the best part of that name right now because it's just randomly thrown in there. It looks like, there's no. I've seen somewhere Diamond will sometimes they'll put a box within a box, but there's like no protection at all. It's just almost the same. It looks like enough size to put the books in and ship it.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other scary thing that John from 616 was talking about is these books are not being pallet shipped. Mm-mm. They're not guaranteed pallet shipping. Therefore, they are literally just being chucked and tossed with no interior protection, nothing. And there's like the Thin Mint boxes Drew was saying. That's it. And you get a lot of shipping companies that these people just see that publishing thing on the side. They don't know what's inside of it. They're not experienced with this. They don't know.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder also, I would imagine it'd be the same, but if Diamond's ordering from Penguin House and then, just like secondary distributor almost, I imagine they're probably getting books that shipped the same way from Penguin House, right? As I stutter.
This is another example of horrible institutional corporate hubris of Penguin Random House. They're famous old ass company. Right? Yeah, and Disney's like, oh, we're looking for new people, and Penguin's like, look, we can distribute more, and like everything on paper, cheaper, more, everything. Yeah, money. Disney's like, yeah, money, and they didn't even test run shipping. You know how to figure it out. Like they don't give a f about us as because we are a secondary. We're kind of a secondary market. That's like sort of what we are. They and Marvel too. I mean, like they're like giving us the garbage paper, all day, and they're just like so easy to tear up. They don't have any respect for the secondary market.
Yeah, they don't care.
They don't care, and the secondary market is the backbone of the entire industry. This is another example of just money men in the fucking meeting rooms thinking like, oh, we're gonna make extra money because these suckers are gonna keep buying this shit. They don't care about what the secondary market is. They don't.
It's just logistics to them. They don't care about the collectible part of it.
And it's just dumb. I mean, like you didn't do a test run. Like you didn't like. Is there no consultants? Like who is in charge here? Like what is going on? Like how can they have so much money and be so stupid?
Glitch in the matrix.
Yeah, I think the letter section of all the back of these Marvel books should be hate mail for Penguin House.
I don't even think they have letters.
What about do they still have like the retailer summits and stuff like that?
Oh gosh, not after Dennis went crazy on them.
No. But I mean, I'm sure there's got to be some type of sounding board for retailers to.
Well, it's funny, I bring that up that if you guys don't know the story, like Diamond took a lot of heat a couple years back over this exact problem. Just no horrible condition on the books they're sending out. So much so that at one of their own retailer summits, a retailer threw up a box full of all their books just destroyed up on the stage and said, "Here you go. Tell us about that." Like it's a big deal. It is a major deal, and to have Penguin not. Oh, it's kind of infuriating.
Yeah, it's a level of frustration that even I think every comic book collector at one point, maybe in the back of their mind, even if it's not a brick and mortar, they're like, hey, I'm gonna create a Diamond account and kind of retail through a website or whatever. But then you don't see this side of it. And then at the same time, how many pre-orders do you have to cancel now? And then by canceling those pre-orders, then you get the other stupid drama side of it. Well, that book is now selling for $50 on the secondary market. They just canceled it because they're going to sell it later for more money, when really you're just trying to be an honest retailer and be like, bro, the books are damages. I'm not selling these because that's bad as a seller to sell damaged books. I'm trying to get replacements. I'll let you know. You try to be transparent and honest, but you always get caught in the middle, or a lot of times, you're waiting on replacements, then they come back to you and be like, sorry, we don't have any replacements. This is another one where incentive or exclusive variants. John at 616 had an exclusive variant. They came damaged, not from Penguin House, but from Diamond. Try to get replacements. We don't have any to give you. Watching YouTube videos of Walmart packs, and he sees his variant get pulled out of a Walmart pack. And he's like, wait a minute. You don't have replacements for damages, but my books are showing up in Walmart packs? What the fuck? So that's the type of stuff. It's like, I'm a collector only. I can't deal with that level of frustration.
I mean, like smaller companies, there's names attached to these smaller companies, so they stand by reputation, quality, stuff like that. And Penguin Random House is just a faceless, nameless, giant corporation. They'll just put up another human to be like, "Oh, it was my fault," and then another human, and then we're all gonna pretend this didn't even happen, and they just have a patsy. That's what Disney is doing with Chapek. But it is an institutional problem with these huge scaled companies that don't really care about the customer. They just want our money.
They need a better quality assurance, right? Like someone to QA, spend money on some QA and take care of shipping. It doesn't have to be bulletproof to the point of us, but it has to be some level of protection there to, make your odds better that the books you're getting. You're not going to get 100%. 9.8, hey, I want all my books to come bagged and boarded in top loaders, but there's got to be.
If they don't resolve this, we need a boycott. Yeah, I think we should boycott. Like as consumers, we should get together and boycott, because if we don't ever exercise our buying power, they'll do whatever the f they want. They'll do whatever they want.
Let's talk about that. Is that even possible in our industry or in our hobby? Do you think that if we all said nobody's buying Wednesday comics for a month, do you think that we could even pull that off?
I think we can. I think because we're such a tight-knit and kind of a small community too. Mm-hmm. I mean, compared to other communities, I think for the first time, because of the internet, first time ever, we could actually pull this off and say, fuck you, Disney. Fuck you, Penguin Random. Fuck you guys, man. Because what the f? You're charging us more money for shittier quality books and then shipping it. It's not right. It's not right. And we gotta take a stand.
I get that, but then I also see them being super naive or ignorant enough to think, and then just cancel comic series because they don't get the point of the shipping sucks.
Not unless, because if we did a boycott and it was really well done, it would hit the media. It would be a PR nightmare. They would rather solve the problem than, because it's a PR nightmare for everybody. Then
you got the other side. Told you the comic bubble was about to bust.
Yeah.
So I mean, if there really was a boycott organized, let's just organize it far enough in advance that our retailers are given the opportunity to not order so many books so that we don't hurt them. Because I'm with Rob too. Here, some LCSs need the Wednesdays to stay alive.
No. I mean, but it's just one publisher, right? We just buy all the other books from every other publisher. It's not like we buy all the books every week. We all buying every book every week. We just shift our purchasing power. It's not that we don't buy any.
We still go to the comic shop.
Not us, but the shop's boycotting it.
Oh, I'm talking about us.
No, us.
And working with the shop, and all of us working together, because the owners are also sick of it, and the smaller businesses that sell comics are also sick of it. Everyone at the bottom, everyone underneath the top of the food chain is fucking sick of this shit.
Yeah. And it's just disheartening because, you heard about Diamond for all this time, and then you get Lunar coming out, and what was the other one, the Midtown one that kind of isn't doing it anymore, right? And then now Penguin House, and it's great alternatives. Now Diamond will maybe take care, and you're finding, I haven't heard too much bad about Lunar, but but these other alternatives, they're no better than Diamond was.
Well, one of them has been shipping comics since its inception, and that is Lunar. Or is it Lunar, right?
Yeah.
Lunar is a discount comic book service, so they know how to ship fucking comics.
Yep.
So they shouldn't have a problem. And I remember back in the day getting my books from DCBS when it first started. It was glorious.
Yeah, when incentives were worth getting from them.
Yeah, you get them in Mylars and fullbacks, and it was
cheap,
like
below ratio.
Yeah, it was wonderful. But they know how to. We definitely know they know how to ship comics. So if they ship something out and it's bad, then there's just something that has to be done.
Yeah. Riddler Publishing House. I'm snorting over here, but yeah, I mean, definitely people put in the chat. And again, if you guys are watching this on replay, let us know in the comments. Probably going to cut this as separate content, to be honest, because this is definitely a topic worth that discussion. But having said that, tomorrow is New Comic Book Day, so let's go around and what book are you guys most excited for tomorrow? Andy, let's start with you.
I'm really excited in general for tomorrow because tomorrow is going to be my most comfortable New Comic Book Day in several months. Like just a nice list of reading books. I think I've got 35 bucks sitting waiting in my box for tomorrow. And I'm a little torn. Honestly, I'm still looking at the list and it's hard to pick out something. Well, I'm torn between two, but I'm kind of leaning towards Last Flight Out, number 2.
Number 2. Yep.
That's out, and I enjoyed number 1 quite a bit, and I'm really, really interested to see where this is going to go.
Yeah, I've read, like I said, I had the digital copies for 1 through 3, and it's definitely great series. And we saw how number 1 was on release day. People were having trouble finding it, so I don't think it'll be as hard because that's just the natural of it, right? Issue number 1, and then issue 2 comes out, and just the print run of itself drops. But still a great story. And issue number 2 is great. But Andy, what are you looking for?
You just said
Last Flight 2. Last Flight Out, number 2.
Totally missed it. Can you pull Drew's comment back up again? Yep. Tony Fleeks. Yeah. I heard he's written some other book recently that's been pretty
Time
good.
Shopper. He's got Time Shopper.
Something about and some dog book or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Which trade paperback and a lot of exclusive trade paperbacks, right?
Yeah.
But what about you, Dank?
I have a spec pick, which I'm not gonna pick that one, but I think it's obvious, right? Dirtbag Rapture. I'm looking forward to Dirtbag Rapture. It reads like an old school Vertigo book, and Vertigo was, I think, when I really look at everything, my favorite company ever, in the scheme of things. So, anything that sounds like a cool Vertigo book, I'm always looking forward to.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm really looking forward to Amazing Spider-Man, just because Nick Spencer's not going to be writing it anymore. So
yes,
thank God for that. Zeb Wells and Patrick Gleason will be taking over.
You got that Gleason Charlotte Webb cover. You got a Scotty Young cover, the Anhyok Lee cover, right? Some great covers.
And I really love this Gleason regular cover right here.
Yes, really... I love those way better. That's what. I've never been a big fan of the Charlotte's Web covers, as I call them, but I do want to give a shout out to Cantankerous for the $10 super chat. Thank you so much for that. Always enjoy people coming into the chat. Love that we have like a regular audience, that we always seeing people into the chat. Love the conversation that goes on in there, and then like I said, the people watch it afterwards, the comments that we get. So love to see this weekly show grow, and I hope we continue to grow, and then hope people enjoy it. And as always, we always have guests on. We even have Blue Green in the background because he was cooking supper for the family late. So he was sad he couldn't join us tonight. But
right, just Thursday.
Yeah, this is the 1 in 25 right here too, which is interesting that they're making that 1 in 25 like.
And you got those Jusco masterpiece variants.
Yeah, this is the Jusco one right here.
Oh, they're releasing.
There's a Del Auto. Here's Del Auto. I don't like the Del Auto.
Is that a incentive or is that a store exclusive?
It's a cover B
Gotcha.
This is cover A. It says variant A and variant B.
If
That's
you're
all
a
it
Del
says.
Auto and Spider-Man fan, there's a lot of older. Was it like the 600s? There was a run in there where Del Auto did and the covers are super cheap, like
Yeah.
$5 covers if you're a Del Auto and Spider-Man fan.
Did I read correctly? They're releasing this 3 times a month.
Yes, going up
What?
to the Beyond.
Do you guys know that 3 times a month?
Yeah, it's
That's
going to like
ridiculous.
what are they calling it? The Beyond Peter or Beyond. So, and because Ben Riley's coming back, right? Scarlet Spider.
Yep.
But Peter doesn't die. I found, But like you said, Nick Spencer.
Andy, you're disturbed.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I kind of just let go of my last Web of Spider-Man 118. Now I wish I would have kept it.
Yeah. So my pick, Image Book, big Rick Remender fan. We got that righteous thirst for vengeance. I was about to say violence, right? Big. If you're Deadly Class, I mean Rick Remender, Ed Brubaker. I know we mentioned Ed Brubaker earlier in the show, but those are two awesome writers, and I'm excited for this one. It's got a lot of covers for it, some incentives, but I'm excited just to pick up cover A. And there was I think an Albuquerque variant and a couple others, but very similar covers. I'm sure it'll get an additional printing, but that's my pick for tomorrow. I also had Last Flight Out, and then Chicken Devil from Aftershock is one I'm excited to read. So 3 picks, not 1.
I was like thinking isn't that Star Wars High Republic Trail of Shadows kind of might be a
Yeah.
good spec,
Yeah.
I guess. Like a private investigator in the Star Wars universe. I feel like we never had that before, so
Yeah. All those Star Wars adventures books right now are just great to pick
Yeah.
up.
IDW books. I've liked the Star Wars High Republic Adventures.
Trail.
The
Sorry.
Marvel. And the Marvel Origins, right? I've seen those books are selling well.
Yes.
IDW, the Miles, I think it's Miles and Rhino.
And they won't be making them anymore, unfortunately,
So,
moving forward.
so there's our picks. Now it's just time for one more thing. One more thing. We go around. You guys can tell what you got going on the channel. What are you eating for breakfast tomorrow? One more thing. Andy, what do you got for us?
I got one more thing that I'm going to cram 2 more things to make it one more thing. But this Friday, one more Whatnot auction going on. There's a few more books. I got more books coming in, which means I need to have more books going out to make room because I'm out of room. And Motor City Comic Con is a week from this Friday opening up. I cannot wait to be in Detroit, see some of the Flipside guys out there, and just check out a convention and have fun. Hoping to kind of stretch out my wings, so to speak, and try some vlogging a bit.
Nice. Very nice. I just want to remind everybody to check out my eBay store. I'm going to show my eBay store some love. I've totally been not putting any care or anything on it lately, but that is changing because I got to make a little money for Baltimore because Baltimore is coming up in 3 weeks. I want to have a little bit of spending money, so I'm going to start putting up some slabs and some cool stuff on my eBay store. It's Collecting Daze, spelled D-A-Z-E, and make sure you guys go check it out.
D-A-C-E.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah.
What you got, Dan?
I'm doing another channel. It's not that I'm gonna read audiobooks of public domain novels. I'm gonna start with The Great Gatsby because I discovered through my audience and other people that I have an unintentional ASMR voice.
You got a movie trailer voice?
No, I got no ASMR. The ASMR thing. And I don't get and I don't have to whisper to do that shit. And because I don't want to whisper to do that shit. But I always wanted to read audiobooks anyway. But if it could double as an ASMR thing, that's just like forget about it. But I thought free audiobooks for classics is good because high school kids don't want to read. They'll listen to that, and it's fun. But the I can also do the ASMR thing too. I'm just like, all right.
Cha-ching.
Nice. I I don't read well outside of comics. Books, I use Audible now, and I'm a snob about it. Like a lot of times, I won't listen to it if it's not narrated by the author. Because I'm like, no, if I want to read this book, I want it narrated by the person that wrote it. But anyway, my one more thing. I want to give a shout out to Drew Lewan at Wanted Comics. He's the one that shared those pictures of the misery from Penguin House. But check out Wanted Comics, comics with an X. John from the 616 Comics as well, another channel sponsored. Appreciate him. I got a bunch, man. I'm so far behind on opening. I got packages upon packages of books to open up. I haven't been buying as much because I'm so far behind. I do have a couple AOKs I need to get opened up, get those filmed. So I apologize for people that have sent that. I even have books in one of those boxes for McClay. I keep telling you about it. So I'll get those opened up and out to you guys. Patreon supporters, the Patreon boxes have just gotten sent out. I have that reveal video filmed. I have to edit it and put that up. So if you guys want to see what's going in September's Patreon box, that video will be up here very soon, most likely tomorrow night. But with that being said, guys, I appreciate each and everyone watching. Appreciate you guys on the panel each and every week. We will get Tomlin back here soon. We will get Tony Fix back here soon. If he was here, he would tell you, make sure you check him out on Whatnot, of course. And with that being said, this is Brown Seven Minutes Comics. We will see you guys in the next video.
Look. They talking like they don't know a king when they see one. See him in person, he take it back like a refund. Ballin' with my brothers, all my playing D1. Daily checking chicken, he gon' spin it watching reruns.